Honourable Eugenie Sage.
Others, I'm very pleased to take a call on the Arts Centre Trust Bill and pleased that it is progressing so quickly through the House, being introduced in June last year, and also congratulate the local member, the Honourable Nikki Wagner, for the work that she has done in sponsoring the bill. And it's always a pleasure to be involved in bills where there is agreement in the House, where peace and harmony breaks out. The bill attracted 4 submissions. They were generally supportive and only seeking small changes. And I think, Mr Chair, that shows that there was very good consultation in developing the bill. In previous speeches, I have talked about the significance of the Arts Centre as a cultural centre, as the iconic heritage buildings, its importance to Christchurch. I won't repeat that, but I have also acknowledged the work that the Arts Centre Trust Board has done, and particularly the contribution of Jen Crawford and the CEO, Andre Lovett. But would also like to acknowledge tonight the Honourable Margaret Austin, because she represents the Christchurch Civic Trust on the Arts Centre Board, and she's played a significant role in the development of the bill. And she certainly briefed me, and I'm sure other MPs, before the bill was introduced on its purpose, and that was very helpful in understanding the changes to the Trust Board's governance which were needed to provide a solid base for the future and to enable the Trust Board to continue with the quite extensive, as Scott Simpson mentioned, earthquake restoration and renovation. And would just like to comment briefly, because the Civic Trust did want an amendment to the bill in the way in which it dealt with the many different titles, particularly in the eastern part of the Arts Centre site. There are 5 separate titles, and it was quite controversial when the University of Canterbury wanted to establish a National Conservatorium for Music on the Hereford Street car park on the site. And I think the Civic Trust was concerned that having these separate titles would mean that there was the potential and the door was left open in the future for the Trust to potentially dispose of one of the titles to accommodate another controversial development. But I was reassured as a member of the committee with by the advice that officials provided that if the Trust Board was to seek to dispose of part of the site, then it would be acting contrary to the objects of the bill, which of course are to promoting, conserving and maintaining the heritage integrity of the land and buildings of the Arts Centre. So while we have the utmost respect for the Civic Trust and its advocacy work to protect the heritage of Christchurch, the committee didn't proceed with that change that the Trust was seeking. But we did make a couple of changes which, as Scott Simpson has suggested, have, I believe, also improved the bill, enabling the Trust Board to amend its constitution through the normal processes in the Charitable Trusts Act 1957, rather than the quite cumbersome processes of going through an order in council, and substituting the wind-up provisions in Clause 8, which would have allowed the Trust to transfer any debts to the Crown, to instead refer to the wind-up provisions in the Charitable Trust Act. And of course, everybody hopes that those provisions would never be needed. And I think, given the foresight of former members of the Trust Board, the present members and the former CEOs as well, in ensuring that the Trust had adequate insurance for the Arts Centre, which has been so important in funding the restoration work, and given the flair, the competence and the dedication with which the Trust Board is undertaking the very ambitious and inspiring $290 million restoration project, I think we can say that the Arts Centre is in very good hands, and there's no foreseeable need for those wind-up provisions to be used. And I think why I say that too is because when you look at the Arts Centre website, this bill is about protecting heritage, improving governance arrangements, but the Trust Board is also looking very much forward. It wants to create a hub of creative entrepreneurs in the heart of Christchurch, which is undeniably 21st century, is what the website says. So it's in terms of the repair and the restoration, bringing in the very latest of heating technology, Mr Chair.
Eugenie Sage.
Thank you, Mr Chair. In terms of the heat exchange systems using waters in the aquifers to be very energy efficient. It's looking at use of the spaces which uses good technology, which is creative, which respects and honours the past, but also looks to the future in terms of some of the new creative techniques in the digital sphere, for example. So it is marrying the past, the present and the future, and pay great tribute to the Trust Board and the work that they are doing to restore and repair the buildings and create a wonderful art centre and centre of Christchurch. Thank you, Mr Chair.
I call